when I was living here, I did not value all these places because each time I'm here, I'm walking, sweating, walking, running up and down. You see? But now, it looks somehow new to me. Although not as many people as used to be in England, but you know, I always valued Spain anyway. I valued here. I knew everything was okay and the place is nice. But then yeah. So now let's head over to Sagrada Familia. Sagrada Familia is a very beautiful and touristic church in Barcelona. It is not just beautiful outside, but inside the building also is so highly and magnificently decorated. It's worth seeing. It's worth seeing. It looks so beautiful and so nice in and out. Yeah, come with us. So many people doesn't realize that Sagrada Familia, this church around here, this building here, many people wouldn't know that this is, if not the tallest church in Europe, it will certainly be the tallest church in Europe. And this church has been under construction for almost 500 years. It has just been recently completed. So it is a big attraction center. Living in Barcelona, it is a place we frequently visit, and we don't really know the value of it until you see people flying in from all across the world to see it. It's really a nice place to be. The feeling is just awesome. Yeah. So this is Sagrada Familia at the heart of Barcelona city. So from Barcelona center, we head over to the coastal areas. Barcelona is a coastal town, which means it runs at the edge of Mediterranean Sea. So there is a long coastal sea all along the edge of Barcelona. So now we head into Costa Brava, which is between Barcelona town and Girona. We are actually in a place called Costa, well, they all called Costa Brava, but there are little villages like Calella de Palafrugell, Begu, and things like that. So you're going to see us climbing rocks, kind of little mountains, little rocks, little cave that is very famous. These mountains and caves and rocks were used and developed years ago in the olden days, in the 19th to 20th century. For you to know how authentic these things are, these things have been developed in those days just to checkmate illegal activities, illegal trafficking, illegal it is mainly used by fishermen to safeguard their city, safeguard their town, safeguard their merchandise, because just like every community living alongside river, every community living alongside seas, mainly fishing is always the basic most common income, the kind of the most common industry. So for them to protect this industry and at the same time create security for the village, these long coastal walks have to be heavily constructed, heavily used, and heavily guided. You see, because any illegal activity that goes along the sea would like to embark at the shores of the villages, or escape through the shores of the villages through the water. So those places becomes a kind of attraction center, both for security and for crimes. But for you to know how far back this kind of constructions, organizations, and development has been erected as far back as 19th to 20th century. Even you could see castles built here, mighty castles built at cliff edge, just for security purposes. In those days, castles serve as symbol of power. Rulers, kings, queens live in castles, which makes it difficult for enemies to attack and overcome. That was before the production of mass destruction, like planes and bombs and things like that. In those days, it was like the closer you get to the castle, the more chance you have of getting your enemy. So, Spain is very touristic, no one doubts about it, and it's like every city in Spain is as touristic as possible. You know, Barcelona is exceptional because of its proximity to France and its situation along the coastal lines. And one important thing that people need to remember is that Spain has every season. For instance, Spain is somehow connected to the Alps. Northern part of Spain is connected to the mountains and Alps, where there is always a kind of always ice and snows and cold and things like that. While from the central towards the southern part of Spain is dry and windy and sunny. You see, that's one of the things that makes Spain so beautiful. So, friends and well wishers, come along with us. Yeah, we'll be taking you to some of the places. We couldn't show you everywhere we've been because everything is not gonna be able to contain in these footages. But at least we could show you part of where we've been. Unfortunately, we didn't have a very good camera. We can't have coverages of everywhere.
This time could be the norm. Na na na, this time. This time could be the norm. Na na na, this time. Could be the norm. Na na na, this time.
As you can see, this village, this town, this community, they still maintain and they keep the culture of fishing. You see, everything is still intact. The pathways, the stones, the cobble streets, the bridges, everything still maintains its quality, its stability, its durability, even the castles. You see, it is a thing of culture for the Europeans to be authentic and be absolutely good in whatever they are constructing. They don't just think for immediate benefit, but for long time benefit. You see, that's one of the good qualities of the abilities of the Europeans to grow. So, where the rest of the people are trying to start to invent or to construct, these people has already established the act and the culture of building everlasting structures. You see, so these places were mainly used for a different purpose. Now we still serve both that same purpose and touristic purpose. Look how beautiful. Look, the sea. There is this special noise of the sound of the sea against the stone by the wave. You know, the wave just carries the water, splashes it against the stone continuously. It's wonderful. Really, really wonderful.
This time could be the norm. Na na na, this time. This time could be the norm. Na na na, this time. This time could be the norm. Na na na, this time.
This is the second time, if I'm not mistaken, that my little son is seeing sands for the first time in reality. The first time he saw and played with sand was just a day before here, a day before this day here. And then, he seems to be like, kind of surprised, trying to figure out what sand is all about. The first time he saw it, he tried eating them, and now he tries throwing them up, and then he figured out it could be thrown up, and then he just doesn't stop throwing them up. I was so, worried about it getting into his eyes, because I knew that is just probably going to be the next thing, the next problem to be solved. If sand gets into anyone's eyes, it's so disturbing, absolutely disturbing, even if it's an adult, not to talk of a kid of this age, and not being used to sand. So by now it was getting a kind of windy and a kind of very fresh, a kind of cold, because the wind is continuously and chilly, so it's getting a kind of a bit dry. The night before, we drove past a ganja store, kind of a legal outlet for weeds and ganja. So we decided to check in. We're not ganja smoker, but it just draws attention. With curiosity, we just went inside to see what they have in stock, and we were so amazed to find out so many lots of things produced with the leaves, even candles, cakes, brownies, and all sort of things. Look at here, you could see some pink and green little kind of plastic containers. Those things are kind of sweet. These ones are chocolates made out of cannabis. And the little boy was, my son was wanting sweetie, not knowing what the sweetie was made of. We were just laughing at him. He doesn't understand that these sweeties are not just sweeties, but there are lots and lots of products made out of this weed or this grass. So people have found a productive way of making some natural things. Look at these ones too. I think these ones are creams. I've forgotten what they are. They are like in a flat aluminum metal containers, just like the containers.
You want me to buy you this one? Which one? You love sweet too much, you get that, just you start run.
He was wanting the pink one, not knowing that this is not just pink for anybody. So here again we go, we hit the streets. The night looks like the day. Like the night is even more like lively, people everywhere, kind of
you want me to buy you this
warm
one?
feelings.
Which one?
See, you love sweet too much, you get that, just you start run.
You mean the pink one?